and you're just parasites. I don't even want to compare you to animals because you're worse than that. Animals have a function. Animals are beautiful. You people are just virus, parasitic creatures that should have probably never been born.
So you're talking about your MAGA sisters who live in red states who are being affected by losing their SNAP benefits. Gotcha.
Hey everyone, this is to all the welfare.
Anytime anyone uses the term welfare queen, it is a massive racist dog whistle, and they should be treated as such.
I mean, there'll still be some people in poverty, but they're going to be the hardworking people that just fall on hard times or whatever. But it isn't going to be this generational, just sponging off of everybody else that's working and that have worked.
These people will literally run smack dab face first into the point and not even realize it. They have no idea what hit them. You understand that the reason it's generational is because if your parents don't have a pot to piss in, they can't give you a head start in life. They can't, like my parents did, say, stay home until you get married, save up your money so you can buy a place and never have to pay rent. Okay, like my parents who came here from Portugal, and yes, they worked their asses off and they bought properties. They gave me a leg up because guess what? They had the money to send me to college. They had the money to send me to private school. They had the money to send me to special summer camps and to help me get started and give me money when I needed it. Not everybody had that. So my generational thing was somebody set me up to succeed, and now I'm doing the same for my children. These people can't do that for their children, and then people end up in poverty generation to generation. Hello?
Yes, welfare programs are supposed to be temporary. You are supposed to be able to work your way off of them. You're supposed to be able to earn more money, get less benefits, and slowly work yourself off to where you don't need them anymore. But that's not realistically how they function because the income caps are not realistic. The rules and the regulations and all of the requirements between the programs do not match up. There's just so many different things. And I'm so tired of hearing about people who are taking advantage of this system. Because when you look at the numbers, the number of people who are actually taking advantage of this system and don't actually qualify for these programs and get them is so small. And then when you take into the account, they need to drug test these people. When they've done drug tests on people, they've found that it costs more money than they were saving. The problem is the programs, the way that they are built, and they need to be reformed. Poor people are not the problem.
Don't usually do stuff like this, but that's Susan. She works for a dentist. I think Dr. Anderson. I'm not really for sure. I'm not doxing her. I think that's who it is. I'm not really sure, but I kind of am sure.
Family, here's the deal. What happened in that video is classic yet still shocking. Now, a white woman stands before her phone and declares that black people are parasites. That word alone carries weight, dehumanizing, inflammatory, loaded with historical baggage. Now, she clearly intends to provoke, to test the waters of outrage. But what she doesn't expect is the swift backlash, the social media ripcord that launches when people see someone behave like that in 2025. Because yes, it's still happening, and yes, people are still calling it out. Now, let's unpack what's really going on. First, what does she mean when she says parasites? She suggests that black people are living off welfare, presumably without contributing, and therefore she frames them as the takers in society. But here's the contradiction. The welfare system in the United States is heavily assessed by white people as well. Now, social safety nets don't carry a racial barcode. Now, according to multiple studies, the proportion of white families accessing assistance programs is substantial. Now, when you dig behind the outrage bait comment, parasites, you find data that undercuts the claim. Further, there is a dramatic wariness from many black Americans around hearing this narrative again. And the idea that their communities are inherently burdensome, the narrative doesn't just stand alone. it is tethered to systematic racism, historical disenfranchisement, and even economic marginalization. And if you say parasites, you skip over why so many people are in that situation. Now, you skip the structural obstacles and you'll jump straight into blame. And blame makes for good viral content, but it doesn't make for truth. Now, what really makes this moment explode online isn't just the insult, it's the hypocrisy. Because in the same conversation where someone says black people are parasites, you will see statistics that show white people receive more in dollar terms from the government in subsidies, tax breaks, loss mitigation, and yes, even welfare programs too. And the internet saw that coming. The internet checked the facts. So the victim narrative of saying I'm paying for them, they are leeching off the system, suddenly becomes hollow when you realize the payer and the receipt often overlap in the same demographic. And the online response confirms that. People started commenting, sharing chats, posting receipts, and the video commenters reminded her that look around, these programs have no strict racial gatekeeping, and the system is used by a broad cross-section of Americans. And moreover, the idea that one race has a monopoly of receiving aid is a myth. And so the moment she said parasites, she unleashed the digital receipts, and people pulled up numbers, pulled up federal data, pulled up stories of white families, rural communities, veterans, yes, even veterans who depend on systems that she deemed only others. And that's when the video flipped from being about the rant to becoming about exposure of her assumptions. And finally, let's talk about the impact on the broader conversation. A clip like this becomes a mirror. It forces us to look at who we label, who we dismiss, who we blame, and it forces us to ask, what is the role of welfare? And how do we talk about race and assistance without falling into caricature? And the outrage moment here serves a purpose, not just to shame one woman, but to expose how the us versus them mindset survives even when the fact doesn't back it up. And so in a time where inequality is rising, when people are struggling across racial lines, when conversations about privilege, class, and race are overlapping more than ever, the viral video is a microcosm of all those tensions colliding. And so family, if you take away one thing from this, words like parasites are more than insult. They're a weapon. And when you throw them out there without context, without self-awareness, the internet will not let you hide. And so reality checks will come, and even those checks aren't just from pundits, they're from every person who's ever had to rely on a system they didn't design, from every community that's been painted as other, and from every viewer who sees the irony and calls it out. Thanks for staying with me, family. If you liked this video and you're ready to keep peeling back the layers of viral culture, systemic issues, and who's actually benefiting in society, hit that like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. Until next time, stay awake, stay thoughtful, and always stay family. Peace.